Hey everybody, it's Chef Keone, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make a steak just like we do it in the restaurants. Super juicy, perfectly done, and just amazingly yummy. So the first thing to get the awesomely perfect steak is to make sure there's no moisture on the steak. You really want to pat it dry and make sure all the extra moisture is gone. Next, we're going to season the steak, and in this I'm using ala'i salt, which is Hawaiian salt. And then I'm going to season it with some black pepper. Once I get that done, I'm going to flip it over and season the other side. One thing that's really important is make sure you get a really even seasoning on the entire piece of steak, because that's really what's going to make a big difference. If you under season, there's no flavor, but if you season it properly, it's like night and day. Next thing we're going to do is put it into the pan, and I'm using a cast iron skillet because I can get really even heat. I put just a little bit of canola oil into the pan, just kind of swirling it around, and now I'm going to place the steak in and make sure that I put the steak in and face it away from myself as it lays down, just so that it doesn't splatter. Now as you can see, the thing is smoking nicely, and that's what I'm looking for. It's going to sound really loud and sizzling, which is also a good indicator. We just want to make sure now, I'm checking it just to make sure that there's a good even layer of canola oil underneath the steak to help make sure that it browns. And then I'm going to get ready to put a little bit of butter into the pan. This is the best part, and we really want that butter in the pan to melt in there, and we're going to baste the steak. What's really going to give us this great flavor is basting it. You have milk solids in the steak, you have the butter flavor, and it's going to help with the browning, and it's also going to give you guys just a lot of flavor. Now that we got the butter going, I'm going to add some herbs. I'm putting thyme and rosemary in. You know, you can use thyme or rosemary, but I like the blend of both. Then, you know, I add a little bit more butter. Once you get the herbs in, I'm going to let the steak just do its thing. I'm just trying to make sure that there's a good layer of fat under the steak to help give it a good crust. And then I'm going to start basting it. I'm taking this really brown, nutty, delicious butter and starting to baste the steak, and that's really going to continue to help make sure that we're getting flavor and ensuring the juiciness of the steak. Now once I get a super good crispy crust, I'm going to flip it over, and as you can see right here, this is like super golden brown, and that's flavor. What we're taking is the proteins and the sugars in the steak and really letting them get crusty and golden, and that adds to the flavor. You're going to continue to baste the steak and make sure that it stays moist throughout the cooking process. Now I'm trying to get a good crust on the other side, just like I did on the first side that we've already flipped over. So we're letting the steak do its thing. I'm just checking to see the color. It really looks good actually. I want more because, you know, for me, a nicely done steak has a lot of really crispy crust, and that's why we want to start with a thick steak, a 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 inch steak, because you want to give it time so you can get a really good crust without the steak overcooking. Now I added a little bit of fresh butter in here because, you know, I felt like it needed a little bit more for me to baste with, and the addition of fresh butter and milk solids is going to help where some of the original set of butter I put in is starting to kind of get expired because it's been cooking so long. I just flipped it over. It's got a really great color. I wanted to just get a little bit more of a crust develop on that side, and then shortly we're going to check the temperature. And I always use a meat thermometer because it's going to give me a precise measurement. And for this steak, a medium rare steak, I'm looking for about 120 to 125. In the great outdoors. So once I hit that magic 120 to 125 for a medium rare plus steak, you take the steak out and you let it rest.
Sometimes you need to go and take a step back.